Hey, welcome back. I wanted to share a story and go off of that. Earlier this week, one of my clients dropped some real shit into her check in, and that kind of gave me inspiration for this episode. Most people think that discomfort means that they're failing or that it's their body telling them to pull back. And a lot of the time, that's actually not what it's means or what it's telling you. And by the end of this episode, it's my hope at least that you'll understand why the messy middle is where real magic and growth happens and how you can stay there long enough to actually see it. So, my client had added into her check in earlier this week. She said, I'm feeling awkward and uncomfortable, and it doesn't feel good. And that is, it's a very, very hard thing to feel. And what I told her is, you're in the right place right now. She's currently working on being more accurate and consistent with her nutrition logging, hitting her protein targets, her fiber targets, being more consistently within her calorie ranges, prepping and planning when it comes to her nutrition, which is something that she's used to kind of going off of other people's lives and not taking the reins and planning with herself first and foremost. So this is all very, very new. She's also working on some personal growth things. She's a musician and she's kind of leveling up in aspects of her musical career, we'll call it. And these are all places where she's pushing boundaries. And you can probably think about times that you have felt similar. This is the human experience of growth. This is what it's supposed to feel like when you're learning new things, new skills, as you are gaining confidence in something. It really is like that messy middle place, or I like to call it the goo very often, where one of my friends told me about this, and I really like the visual of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, which we all just like to think, oh, this caterpillar just like it goes to sleep and then it wakes up and it's a butterfly. And that's not the reality. It actually, like it gets in its cocoon and then it melts essentially in like sits in this goo for a really long time. And I don't know the statistics in front of me and I don't have someone to ask to look it up for me. But this takes a long time and there's a lot of caterpillars that don't make it through because it's a very challenging time. And while sitting there and like kind of like going through the motion and pushing against the resistance and everything like that, that's where the transformation happens. And then that's where the butterfly comes out. So, it's that space between I want to change and I've changed, or I don't know what I'm doing and I know what I'm doing. And it sucks. Like, it does not feel good. And that is the message that I will always put out into the world and share with people. Your brain hates uncertainty. From a psychological, neurological level, it hates uncertainty. It wants you in your comfort zone. Your brain is like constantly sending messages of safety. It wants things to be predictable. So whenever things are uncertain, whenever there is difference, your brain is going to send you messages. Like, this goes back to caveman days. This is related to your nervous system, and it is going to tell you like, retreat, retreat, retreat. This is unsafe. You get a whole bunch of messages, and these aren't bad things. However, if you want the thing that is on the other side of the discomfort, then it's not supportive for you, right? So just kind of understanding that discomfort you're experiencing, those messages that you may be getting, it's just it's your nervous system like protecting you or attempting to protect you. They're not facts. And it's something to kind of sit with and not necessarily take as, oh man, I got to retreat. I got to quit. Like I'm incompetent. I suck. All of those messages that may come into play. It feels like incompetence. And the truth here is that, again, that sucks. It sucks to feel that way. And this is where a lot of people bail out. But that the thing is, it doesn't mean that you're bad at that. It just means that you're not confident yet, right? You're not skilled, you're not comfortable in that area yet. So your brain is throwing every single excuse and sometimes they feel like reasons, every what if, everything to pull away and quit. So this is where it's a very, very challenging space and why I think it's so important to put this message out here. And especially with social media these days, it's very easy to fall into that comparison trap where everybody else looks like they've got it figured out and they're doing things and you see the highlights, but you don't see the behind the scenes. You don't see what went into things. And again, why I am doing what I do, because I want to pull back the curtains and expose everything and share everything. So let's go into one, just sit with that message for a little bit and reminders for yourself. And now I want to talk about some practical ways that you can practice tolerating discomfort, because this is a skill in and of itself. And the more positions you put yourself into that are uncomfortable, the more proof you build in your life where you are surviving through these things. It's helping actually rewire your brain, and you are gaining confidence that you're going to be safe, and more than safe, you're going to grow and learn and get better every single time. So it's less of that danger signal and more of that, hey, I can do this, that self-trust. So, aspects like when you're in the gym, whenever reps feel really hard, that is you building your discomfort tolerance, pushing a few extra reps, like training to true failure, going up in weight slightly. Those are ways that you can practice tolerating discomfort. And this is one of the huge reasons why I love strength training or exercising intensely, training intensely, because it's a very tangible thing that you can draw parallels to in every other aspect of your life. Learning new exercises. If you're new to the gym or you can remember being new to things or learning how to use a new piece of machinery or equipment, learning a new movement, it feels awkward as fuck, right? Like at first, and you're like kind of embarrassed and it feels uncomfortable and you're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. But you can think about what happens when you keep practicing that. That is growth in the kitchen or like with your nutrition. If you're working on tracking macros, then work on logging food without judgment. There's very often urges to quit tracking when there's a food that you may have deemed as bad in the past, or you're going to go over your macro targets and things aren't going to be perfect, or you're unsure of how to actually log something. And instead of it being there and you not knowing if it's right, you just don't do it. So these are things that you can work on where you push past and you sit with that discomfort and you go into actually tracking those things and learning through the process of that. You can do things like try different cooking methods. You can try new recipes, new flavorings, new seasonings, new food combinations. Sometimes they're gonna suck, sometimes things aren't going to be the most delicious tasting things in the world. However, you're going to learn that through that, you probably make some really bomb ass meals. You gain confidence in the kitchen. You gain confidence in building meals that are nourishing and taste good. And you know how to throw things together. And these are skills that are going to serve you for the long run, right? Eating out, you can practice doing things slightly different, looking at menus ahead of time, ordering things differently than other people do in your group. Practice making decisions and choices that align with your goals, even when it's not convenient. Some other things you can do just kind of in your day to day, like cold plunges are a big thing, right? Cold exposure, that is a direct tolerance of discomfort. You can do that if you want to. It's not the only way to do that. You know, you could do a cold shower, cold plunge. That's absolutely an option. There's many other ways that we can do this in life. You know, it's something very simple that I started doing with this is picking nail polish colors that I would not ever choose. Like instead of going with the same three colors every time I went to go get my nails done, I would choose colors that I wouldn't normally pick, like bright neons, glitter, things like that. And no, I didn't love them all the time. That was directly like a tolerance, tolerating discomfort. Having difficult conversations, you know, saying things that you're avoiding saying. These are ways that you can tolerate discomfort, you know, practice taking up space and not doing it in a rude, bitchy way, you know, practicing compassion as you have conversations, but not avoiding things and actually speaking your mind, not shoving things down. These are ways that you can tolerate discomfort. Picking different skills, like something that you're not great at or that you want to try something and a new hobby, whatever it may be, and actually do it long enough. Like, don't just quit after one or two or three times. Like, actually work on it. You know, like you could do this even by going bowling on a date night or with your friends and playing a couple rounds and like practicing through that, you know, something mini golf even. You know, this can be interwoven with fun as well. Social situations, you know, like practice showing up as yourself, especially if you're someone who you maybe would call yourself a people pleaser, you're a recovering people pleaser. Work on being you and not who you think people want you to be. These are, you know, these are hard things. But these are things that will very much help you become more confident in yourself. Something super simple is like holding a piece of ice and just holding it and it's cold and you're holding it in your hands and you're tolerating. It's a very, very tangible way of, and a very simple way of tolerating discomfort. Some mindset practices that you can say, because I truly believe, and I mean, there's research with this, that your thoughts translate into your reality. So practicing reframing where you're saying things like, this feels hard because I'm growing, versus that thought of like, this feels so hard right now, and having it be this like whiny experience and feeling like it's hard because you're failing or incompetent or you suck. It's like, this feels hard because I'm working on it. I'm gaining skills. I'm growing. Keep collecting evidence where in your life, you know, look at evidence for where you kept going and you didn't quit, and keep a journal of it, or open your phone up and have a note in there where you have all of this evidence in proof, and really also emphasizing how it felt afterwards. You know, like reminding yourself of all the times that you've been in that position before, because it's going to be many times. If you're someone who is pursuing growth, this is going to happen all over the place, and it may happen like in similar situations. Like your nutrition, you're going to continue to level up in it. Your fitness journey, you're going to continue to level up in it. you as a human and your human experience, you're going to continue to level up, right? So there's going to be a lot of times like this, and you're going to have a lot of proof and evidence. So remind yourself, like, hey, I've been here before. It felt shitty and it felt so freaking good afterwards. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And just reminding yourself, like, normalizing the suck is, hey, this sucks right now. And everyone who's in that messy middle, in the goo, they feel this way too. Believe me, I have conversations with people about this on the daily. Again, like that proof that you have, think about it. What happens when you stay? What happens when you continue to tolerate that discomfort and don't back down? And you practice being bold and courageous and brave, where you're letting yourself feel afraid and you're saying, yep, I can feel afraid and I can still push forward. You're not running away because you're afraid. That confidence, that honestly, that's something that I hear all the time people really want. That compounds. Each time you don't quit, each time you face the fear, the uncertainty, all of that stuff, you build that evidence. And again, this is neuroscience. Like, you're rewiring your brain and building evidence that you can handle hard things. You can do hard things. You are capable. Your skills will stack. So, like when you tolerate discomfort, you can build it in one area and that can transfer to other areas in your life as well. And your identity shifts. You stop thinking of yourself or being someone who just tries things, right? Like, oh, I'm going to try it. You truly become someone who does the things, and you have a lot more self-trust, and you have a lot more belief in yourself and your capability to do hard things. Like, you'll enter into things maybe a little bit more ease, with a little bit more ease and confidence. I'm not going to say that they'll ever feel easy, because they certainly don't. However, that you're going to get through it. So the cool shit moments there, those breakthroughs when things suddenly click, and sometimes this is slow. Sometimes you are showing up and things feel really freaking hard and you're working really freaking hard. And then all of a sudden things click and it feels natural. Or all of a sudden you notice, like, you know what? I know how to do that. And it doesn't feel so hard anymore. Again, that thing stayed exactly the same, but because you kept showing up and you practiced over and over and over again, you got better at it. You are more skilled now. Again, that ripple effect, like where you push through in one area, that changes everything else. And honestly, not only for you, also for other people in your life as well. And it leads to you feeling unstoppable. And I can tell you, like, from personal experience and from working with real human beings every single day on this stuff, like, it is an amazing shift in mentality when people start to realize, like, I can handle whatever comes next. Like that self-trust that so many people, I would say, don't have when I first start working with people, and then down the road they trust that things aren't always going to go accordingly. There's going to be mess ups along the way, and a lot of shitty feelings along the way, and no matter what comes their way, they can handle it, and they're going to be stronger on the other side of it. Like, that's a really freaking good feeling, and it's a really great characteristic to be able to embody and practice. So this week, I want to give you guys do cool shit challenges, where in this next week, pick one area where you're avoiding discomfort and lean into it. This may be trying a new movement that feels awkward. It may be pushing extra reps in the gym. It may be choosing a heavier weight. With your nutrition, it may be something like tracking something you've been avoiding. It may be allowing yourself to intentionally have a fun food without judgment. It may be trying a new recipe or like cooking a meal at home in general for yourself. In life, have a conversation you've been putting off, or sign up for something new, or like go out and buy yourself something that goes along with that hobby. Do something that feels uncomfortable. I will tell you this, like on a personal level, I was avoiding recording this episode because it felt so freaking uncomfortable. And as I'm wrapping up, like this is me very actively tolerating discomfort. I mean, maybe you notice, maybe you don't. However, I will tell you that the difference in how I feel, like the anxious feeling that I had before starting and how I feel now towards the end is very, very different. And it trended in a very positive and empowering way. These are things where in my life now, and I see this with people that I work with, after a while, you actually actively seek discomfort because the cool shit that happens later. So, reminders that if you're in positions, you're working on growth, you're working on learning new things, you're not broken if you feel uncomfortable, or if you even feel like you're doing things wrong. Like, you're not doing things wrong. You're human, you're in the right place. The messy middle is where badasses are made. Reminding yourself to stick it out, because what's on the other side of that? Like, what do you really want for yourself? What is to be had when you do stick it out? And ask yourself what happens if you do quit, because I'm gonna guess that that's probably not something that you want. That's actually not going to lead to you feeling more comfortable. So that's the good reminder here for your nervous system, is that, hey, if I quit, like, that actually doesn't make me more comfortable or confident in what I want. So stop waiting for it to feel good. Don't expect it to feel good. I would actually manage your expectations, and like, this is probably gonna suck, and that's okay. I am capable of tolerating that, and I'm gonna show up because this matters to me. So go do some cool shit, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Do Cool Shit podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, only if it's a good one. I don't make the rules. Actually, yes, I do. And share it. Share it with someone who you think it would be helpful for. Very likely, if it resonated with you and it was helpful for you, then it'll be helpful for someone else. And message me. Something that I would really love to do is connect with my listeners. It's honestly one of my goals to connect with as many people as I possibly can. I want to hear what cool shit you're up to. So send me an email, send me a message. My contact information is in the show notes. I want to hear from you. And I will see you next time.